for Town fans sort of watching, they want to know a bit more about Mehmeti. That they can watch the highlight reels and all that stuff. He's got 8 goals, 6 assists this season so far. Where do you think he will fit in Ipswich Town? I've got some good left wingers already, but I know he can play multiple positions.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wondered when you kind of see Jack Clark after the performance he did on Tuesday night, you're thinking, why are they interested in him? Because he's probably similar profile, although different in that sort of role. For City, he's played as one of 2 10s this season, and with Emil Rees normally ahead of him. So you've had Scott Twine on the right, and Twine tends to drop in quite deep and try to take the ball off the midfield, whereas Mehmeti's almost sometimes more of your second striker off the left. I think he's I don't think he didn't really come to academy systems as like Ipswich fans will probably have seen, and he's got that little bit of, I think he's spoken to us about growing up in London, playing in cages, and he's got that sort of cage footballer style to him where, he likes to keep the ball, likes to dribble, beat his man. If he can beat him twice rather than once, he'll go back and try to do it a second time. The thing that's been exciting probably this season and for large portions of last year as well is that he's started to add those goals to his game. I think I've seen the goal against Oxford earlier this season doing the rounds on social media. He's capable of those sort of wonder goals. What he's started doing this year is scoring the odd tap in, the odd header. He's popping. I mean, like you said, is it 8 or 9 goals in all competitions? On track for his best season in front of goal. You'd imagine probably getting better service now at Ipswich than he was at Ashton Gate. Like you say, the only thing I wonder is just where he quite fits in. I quite liked Nunes on Tuesday night in that sort of 10 role. And I do wonder if he could play there in that sort of busy stretch in the game, especially because your front players are also quick. He's not the quickest. Although he's a winger, he's quick on the ball with the ball at his feet, but he's not like a runner, not like a Philogene or Clark. So I do wonder if that sort of more central role might suit him well, where he can kind of get loads of time on the ball, get people around him involved in the game, and more often than not, if he gets a chance, he tends to put it away.
That's good. And as I said off record, you watch the highlight reels. It shows all the goals, all the skills, the tricks. But yeah, he's still, he's only just turned 25, so he's still got lots to room. He's not his prime yet, but what does he need to work on?
I think similarly to how you'll see a lot of Bristol City fans upset, there'll be quite a lot using the word inconsistent. I think that's probably a little bit unfair this season because you've only got to look at the numbers. I think if you're putting up those sort of numbers in a team that's 10th in the Championship, you'd probably being pretty consistent. But over his time at Bristol City, that's kind of been the thing that's held him back from, I think, being considered one of the division's best attackers. Is that there will be a game where he dictates it all, is at the centre of everything City do well. There will be another game where anonymous feels a bit harsh, but I guess Ipswich fans probably saw it a little bit on Tuesday night where it can feel like a game's passing him by. And when that happens, he can quite often, City fans will say he's greedy. I think that's unfair, but there will come games where if he's struggling to make an impact, every time he gets the ball, he'll be desperately trying to make that impact. And occasionally he'll take a shot when there's a pass on or do the hard thing when there's something simple to do. So I think it's probably because he's really talented. I think in terms of talent levels of footballers, he's as good as I've seen in my time covering Bristol City. I almost think sometimes he knows that, so he's going to try stuff, and that can frustrate the life out of fans. Equally, it'll win you points. I think that's what I'd be interested to see under Kieran McKenna, a higher level of player around him, whether, that sort of selflessness comes around, whether he can consistently put up those sort of numbers. Because if he can, I think it's easy to see why Ipswich have bought him. Because I think he's a player that's probably a top-end Championship player now, but with the right coaching, with the right progress, can quite easily probably do a job in the Premier League as well, if he makes those steps.